Dave Swift here for ClientAmp.com, and this is another edition of That LTD Life, the series where I review the best and often the worst lifetime deals on the internet. I help you break it down, figure out what is the right technology for your business. Let's get into it today. We've got an email marketing tool. Always cool to see email marketing tools available as a lifetime deal, but you do have to approach these with a little bit of apprehension, because if you build your business around an email marketing tool that goes away, it can cause you a lot of pain in the long run, because migrating email tools is not impossible, but it's certainly one of those things that you don't want to be doing too frequently. There's a lot that can go wrong, and just getting everything set up the way you had it before, not to mention any upgrades, can take a lot of time. So let's investigate. We're looking at Engine Emailer. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's one of those two. We're gonna check it out. It's on AppSumo. You can see it starts off very affordably, $29. This would be a competitor to something like SendFox, which is also on AppSumo and was actually developed by the AppSumo team. So I tend to favor those tools that AppSumo actually created, because they have shown they are going to stand behind those. The original SendFox application came out, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's still going strong. So let's see how Engine Mailer compares, whether it's got more features, whether it's more beautiful, whether it's easier to use. We're gonna find out here. So let's go down to the plans and pricing. You're gonna see right away that all of the plans are the same. You're just getting a certain number of emails that you send per month. I actually think this is really intelligent. It's much like a utility company. You're not charged by how many things you plug into your walls in your house. You're charged by how much electricity you use. Sending emails is much the same. In fact, it's more similar than you can imagine. Sending emails actually costs electricity. So having a limit on how many emails you can send per month makes a lot of sense over having a limit on the number of subscribers you have. I really don't like the SaaS policy of charging you based on subscriber numbers. Sure, it's great for the software companies, but if you take a few months off from your business, having a large list can actually become a liability, and maybe you don't want to be spamming them with offers every single week just to pay your ConvertKit bill. No offense to ConvertKit, I do think they're a great platform, but the expense can really add up, especially if this is a side hustle, but you manage to grow it to 10, 15, 20,000 subscribers. So this is really cool. It looks like we've got a lot to check out and explore here. There's pop-ups, there's landing pages, so let's dig in. I'm gonna start off with a tier 1. I'll purchase this and we'll get going. Now, like I often point out in these videos, I have an AppSumo Plus membership, so I end up paying $2.90 less on this $29 purchase. You can get AppSumo Plus for $99 a year, and then you save 10% as well as get a ton of other features. So it really is one of the biggest no-brainers if you are an AppSumo consumer, you buy regularly from AppSumo. I'll drop my link for AppSumo Plus down below in the description. You can click on that to go right over to their page. It doesn't save you any money, but if you want to support my content, go ahead and grab AppSumo Plus from my link. And thank you so much to those who choose to do so. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and complete my purchase here. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and set up my account with Engine Mailer. It looks like from their typography here, it's clearly Engine Mailer. A few other things that might be important to you. You can't use multiple businesses within a single account of Engine Mailer, so get a plan for each business that you want to send from. And additionally, you only can send from one email address inside of each account. So those things might be important if you're trying to use this for cold email, things like that. It probably is not going to be a good fit for you. All right, they passed their first test successfully. I always look to see whether the email provider themselves can hit the inbox. This did not go to spam and it hit my inbox, so that is good. I'm gonna click here to verify my account. All right, so typical sign up stuff here. I wanna point out that you do need to include your mailing address in the sign up. That is part of the CAN Spam Act of, I believe, like 2003 or so. So you actually have to indicate where the email is coming from in a physical email address, a physical mailing address at the bottom of every single email. If you don't have an address you'd like to include on your marketing emails, I recommend checking out Traveling Mailbox. I've got a video on that I produced years ago. I'm still using Traveling Mailbox all these years later, and it gives me a mailing address that we can use for our company, since our company is 100% remote, but we now have a mailing address so that we can do things like send out marketing emails and not have it just include like our home address or have to pay for a PO box, which it works too. It's actually cheaper than Traveling Mailbox, but it's a little less convenient. So definitely check out Traveling Mailbox, a really, I think, affordable and helpful service. All right, back to Engine Emailer. I'm gonna hit save and get started. I said it wrong already, Engine Mailer. All right, so it's setting up my account. I've got a little animation here. Now, the last video I recorded was for Letterly, and it had just an absolutely beautiful interface with all of these gorgeous animations. So I gotta say, this is a very stark contrast to that, where the animations are maybe not quite so beautiful, but nonetheless, email doesn't need to be pretty to me. If it works, we're gonna be good to go. So we can see we've got a few check boxes here, one more to go, create the subscription, and we should be able to start using the platform. It does say this may take a few minutes, and it does seem that it's taking a few minutes.
A few moments later.
All right, we've still got the spinning wheel here. It's starting to get nervous. It's been a while. I'm like to the point as a user where I want to reload the page because it feels like it's taken an uncomfortably long amount of time. But I'm also worried that if I do reload the page, it will somehow screw up the setup process. So I will just twiddle my fingers a little bit longer.
Eventually.
Okay, nothing is happening. So I just opened up a new tab and I went to portal.enginemailer.com and it says, "Good afternoon, Dave Swift. Welcome back to your account dashboard." So whatever happened, it just didn't complete from this spinning wheel. So bug number 1 discovered. All right, let's find out if this thing has any other quirks. The first thing I see as a bug, not really a great start, but let's get into it. So we've got 3 options here. It says send marketing and promotional email campaigns to targeted subscribers, deliver real-time triggered emails via API from a preferred application, and then automate a sequence of emails based on a specific activity or birthday. So it looks like we have newsletters, transactional emails, and drip sequences or automations over here. So let's go through one by one, and we'll start off by looking at the newsletters. I'm gonna hit get started. All right, so the breadcrumbs up here say campaigns/undelivered. I can click the disclosure triangle and toggle between undelivered and delivered. So I guess these would be previously sent, basically newsletters, right? Or email blasts. I'll hit new campaign here and it looks like we'll get a little step-by-step guide. It says setup, template, content, send. So let's check this out. Now, at no point here was I prompted to maybe import my contacts from my other provider or even manually enter contacts. It just put me right into the builder. So I obviously won't be able to send to anyone. I don't have any contacts loaded in yet, but let's go with it and maybe we'll be able to back out and add in some sample contacts. So first here we have a campaign name, and this is an internal name. It says it will not be seen by your subscribers. So essentially it might be like your weekly newsletter number 1, weekly newsletter number 2, or however you want to date them, something like that. I'm just gonna go with Dave's newsletter number 1, and I'll enter in the sender name as Dave Swift, and I'll enter my work email address here. And as I enter in that email address, it says I must verify my domain before I can send from this email. Very normal. In order to send mass emails, you typically need to authenticate that you actually own the domain. You can see where we'd run into problems. Let's say you just decide that you are whitehouse.gov and you start sending emails from the president to tens of thousands of people. You could basically blow up the world. So we're going to go ahead and verify this domain. It looks like the verification process is done strictly through email. So they sent me a verification email. I'll go ahead and find that. Here is the verification email. So I'm going to click to verify my domain name. Hopefully I don't have a loading screen that doesn't go away. Looks like we're good to go. I'm going to hit let's go. All right, so now my email address is verified. You see here under email verification, I've got the little green checkbox, but I'm not done yet. It kicked me out into this settings page where I need to do DNS verification. According to Google's as well as Yahoo's new standards, we have to set up SPF, DKIM, and DMARC authentication so that we can really truly verify to email service providers that we own the domain that we're sending from. I think this is a good thing, and I'm happy to see that they're asking me to do this. If they didn't ask me, I would be very suspicious about deliverability rates for high volume senders. So in order to do this, you can send it off to your developer, or if you know a little bit about DNS, it's really not too tricky. It's just a lot of copying and pasting here. You can see they've got the little copy paste widget on all of the values you need to update, and it does show you current values for ones that need to be updated. So I'm actually going to go through and make these changes, and I'll be back right away.
Later.
All right, so bug number 2 on Earth. This is kind of a silly one, but I've got my clipboard manager over here. And as I'm copying the values, you can see that the first 2 worked just fine. But if I go down to the next one and I copy it, it's actually still grabbing this one. Maybe it's because it's selected. I'll unselect it. No, it actually selects it as I click it. It happens for all of them in this column. So they have something wrong with their code. I can't actually copy any of these values. It always grabs the top one. So we are not off to a great start considering this is still loading over here. and their copy and paste widget, which is not a technologically advanced feature, is not working properly. Luckily, I can use the OCR feature of CleanShot X in order to grab all of these values so that I still can do this rather quickly. Okay, I've made all of the DNS updates here. With the exception of the DMARC value, I decided to skip that. I already have DMARC set up, so I don't think that should be necessary to run it through them. So I'm gonna go ahead and check the records here. It is loading the page right now. And I've got checks for everything. All right, great. Yeah, the big thing with DMARC is not so much that you're using whatever they provide you, it's just that you have something in general. It handles any emails that are not valid, and it tells the email service providers what to do with them. But that is for another video. Maybe we should do a deep dive into email authentication and what it all means without getting too overly technical, just get you feeling reasonably confident about it. Down below here, we can set up our Google Analytics if you want to do that. There's also a section for webhooks. Nice to see. We've got a delivery webhook, an open webhook, a click webhook, a bounce webhook, an unsubscribe webhook, and a spam webhook. So lots of different options there to be able to get data in and out of the platform. And we can also disable domains if you don't want to use this domain, or just delete it outright. All right, so back over to our campaign builder here. I am now able to send from my email address, and I am entering in the subject of my very first newsletter. Notice that when I start typing, this little AI section pops up here, and it's gonna give me some advice, I believe, on actually creating a subject line. So this kind of feels like Grammarly meets ChatGPT. So I've got a tone thing over here where I can say, all right, I want this to be, how about thoughtful? It's in the English language, and I can add in some keywords here if I want to have them included in my subject line. I can include emojis, sure, why not? And then I'll hit generate. Now it takes my original idea and then makes it into a more successful email subject line. I think that's a pretty cool idea. The use of emojis here is way overdone. I was thinking maybe one emoji, but instead every single subject line has 4 emojis, a little bit over the top. So let's roll it back. We'll turn those off. It says I have 199 attempts remaining. If I go over the little tooltip here, it says upgrade to a paid plan for unlimited subject generations. So I thought I had a paid plan. That's really interesting to see. Let's find out and make sure our AppSumo code has actually been applied here. All right, so it definitely has. It says I'm on the AppSumo 12K plan. I get 12,000 a month, and it shows me all of the other plans that are available here. Notice the top tier plan, $600, is going to be 1 million emails per month. That will be able to handle, everybody up to Tim Ferriss, basically. Like that's a pretty beefy email list. I'm curious what email provider they are using in order to send these emails out. That's something I will try to deduce by the end of this video, because if you were to send 1 million emails, even through Amazon SES, let's run some math. Now, granted, there are some ways to get discounts on services like SES, but that's still going to be pretty expensive. So 1,000 emails is going to be 10 cents. And remember, 1,000 or 1 million is 1,000 thousands, right? So if I did 1,000 times 10 cents, that's still going to be $100 a month in sending emails. And you can see that we're paying $600 once. So if you're to use this for 7 months, you already got them in the hole. So hopefully they have a good system for sending emails out that is affordable and scalable. Because if we're going to invest in them as a lifetime deal, we want them to have a profitable means to stick around. And I guess one of those might be selling us additional usage of their API tool. I'm not really sure yet. Regardless, let's generate some more email subject lines without emojis this time. I didn't really even inspect if they were good quality. It looks like they're all kind of following a similar playbook where it's got essential tools, top 10 must-haves, essential tools, top 10 necessities, essential tools, top 10 must-haves. So these ones are almost identical. This feels very ChatGPT 3.5, maybe even 3.0-ish, not entirely creative with each iteration. So if I don't like this format of saying essential tools, well, then none of these are going to be helpful to me. What happens if I generate again? Yeah, just more essential top 10 tools here. So I guess the idea of having a subject line generator is really cool, but like so many things with built-in AI, it kind of falls short. Okay, so I just went over to Claude and I asked it to generate 10 alternate emails for the same subject line I was using over on Engine Email. And it looks like it did a pretty good job. I would say it's probably better, at least more diverse than what we were getting out of the tools directly. So once again, man, it would just be really nice if these tools are going to build in AI models. Make sure you're using the latest and greatest. Otherwise, it just feels like a significant compromise. Yeah, it's more handy if it's in the app, but it's not more handy if I inevitably go outside of the app to use the tool that I think has better quality. I mean, just take a second to glance at these. We've got unlock your business success. Is your business missing these 10 game-changing tools? Boost your bottom line. The only criticism I would say about these is they're a bit too long. So I would alter that and say, keep these shorter so people can read them on their iPhones. And there we go. We've got a list of 10 shorter email subject lines. These are all improved over the original one. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick one. 10 tools for business growth. All right, simple enough, kind of generic, but it'll work for this demo. All right, now for the preview text, I went ahead and entered some preview text in. And funny enough, it doesn't pop open the AI generator for that. So it's only for the subject line. And let's see if it comes back up here. Yeah, if I start typing here, the subject generator comes up there. But inside of this tool, no AI at all. So kind of funny, you think you'd have it available for both, but you don't. There is A/B testing built in. Let's toggle this on and see how our UI changes here. Nothing happens right away. Typically, I'd want to A/B test the subject line first. So I'm going to leave that on for now, and I'll go to save and next. Okay, so now the process here has been updated, and I'm in the A/B testing section. I can test the subject line, the from name, or the content itself. So that's kind of cool. So if we do the subject line, we've got AB over here, and it looks like I can add additional ones. So if I want to do like ABC, I could probably do that. Okay, so this is really confusing interface. It looks like I can add multiple subject lines in here, but it's not actually clickable or letting me type anything. And then there's this add subject line down here, and this isn't clickable either. I hope this isn't a browser compatibility issue. I am using Safari, but this doesn't seem like something that would necessarily break with a browser. I've got this option over here to design the email content. Seems a little bit weird to take me into the content first, but why not? Let's go there. All right, so I'm now creating the email content. I can choose one of their templates. At first glance, these look really nice, kind of Canva-ish about them, where they're kind of generic e-commerce types of messages, which are fine. I might look for maybe more of a newsletter type of look since that's what I wanted to build. There are template types up here, and let's go down to newsletter. Okay, good. Although these don't really look like newsletters to me. From a distance anyways, they still look like marketing emails. I'm looking for text. All right, here are some newsletters. This one looks okay. Let's preview it. Oh, I don't really like that layout, or that background color. All right, here we go. This looks pretty good. Very minimalistic, linking to some recent blog posts, our social links at the bottom, and we're ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this one out. Oh, by the way, we can check out what it looks like in mobile responsive as well. So I like this one. I'm going to try it. I'll choose Get Started. All right, and we are now inside of their email builder. I can go ahead and modify any of this. Got a very kind of Grapes.js type of feel to it with these buttons and everything, and the content over here on the right. I don't think it actually is Grapes.js, but it looks a lot like it. So let me try to upload my own logo. So I've got an image here. I want to replace it. It looks like the image is linked up to this path. So let's change the image right here. And it says empty folder, upload some files here. All right, I've got my That LTD Life logo. I'm just going to drag and drop it in. That works seamlessly, so that's a good sign. I will insert this. And there we go. I've got my logo. It's a little big, so let's figure out if we can easily resize this. I'm not going to go into just exhaustive detail on using the builder, but I want to try a few basic features to make sure it works. Now, obviously with email images, it's always best if you just upload the correct size, but I didn't here. So what happens? It says auto width. I'm going to toggle that off. And look here, I can shrink it down using CSS. There's even an option here for full width on mobile. So that's nice. I'm not sure how compatible that will be with all email clients, but it is cool that they're trying to do some mobile responsiveness. Emails are kind of weird. Like if you don't know how emails are built without, diverging the video into an entirely different subject, emails don't use the standard kind of CSS layout that we're used to seeing on the web. Instead, they use tables like we did when we built websites in 1996. So doing email so that it's compatible across all of the different email clients is actually fairly difficult. So that's definitely something you want to look at. As you are using a new builder, send it out to various providers. Use Yahoo and Outlook and Gmail and just see what it looks like in those main clients that people are going to be using. Okay, so here is some text. It's already in line. I can just write inside of the email. This is my email text. And now I can move this left aligned, center aligned. I could make it bold. I can make it larger. So yeah, fairly full featured text editor here, nothing super special. If I want to insert a link, I could do that. Let's see if the key commands work. I'm going to do Command K. No, that doesn't work. That's a bit of a bummer. So I just hit the little link over here. Yeah, this definitely feels like Grapes.js. I think this is the layout for Grapes.js. Now, I keep mentioning Grapes.js. You might not know what that is. It's a free open source web builder. A lot of times when people put together software, they actually use open source components to build their software. It's not a bad thing. It's very standard practice. So I'll just show you, this is what Grapes.js looks like. It's very similar. It might not be this tool, but it could also be a fork of it. So very similar where we can just, write in line here. We get a little text editor. You can see why I'm drawing some conclusions that they might be using that as their editor. Now, I do notice there is the universal symbol for AI right over here. So let me click on that and let's find out what we can do. I can write, let's say, a paragraph, and I want to say, tell me about the 10 best types of software tools. Maybe I'll say write about. Tone is going to be humble, and the content length should be, let's say, 100 words, and I will hit generate. All right, here we go. We've got some different generations, and I can choose which one I like the most. Now, remember, I chose humble tone of voice. So a lot of the things start out with things like, I'm no expert, but here's my humble opinion. This one's a little bit weird because it starts kind of in the middle of the statement. It says, certainly, there are many software tools, like it got the prompt, and then the model wrote back like, oh, certainly, I'll tell you about that. And here it says, absolutely, I'm no expert. So let's say I wanted to use one of these. It's simply a copy and paste interaction, so I can do that. And obviously this pasted in bold, and I can go ahead and make that plain text and maybe left aligned. Okay, so using the default templates and modifying them seems to work fairly well. I'm able to intuitively get around. Let's go ahead and just explore a few other elements of this content builder. So there are 3 sections at the top. We've got our actual modules or widgets that we can drag and drop in. So if we want to add a button, boom, there we go. We've got a button added in. If we want to add in an image, we can add in our own image, so on and so forth. Then we have rows. These are basically our layout settings. So if we want to do something full width, we would drop in a full width row. If we wanted to divide it up, maybe have it looks like 66% on the left, 33% on the right, we could do that. Remember what I said, emails are tables. So you're not going to have full customization like you're used to if you are competent with like CSS and HTML. It's not quite as complex as that. There are new protocols that are coming out like MJML, which is a little bit better. But this is, fairly good. Looks like we can do everything up to 6 different columns in a row. So that is quite a bit. And our final option is over here under settings, where we can change the content width area if we want to have a wider email. Be careful with this because it will definitely break on certain devices. And we want to have a more narrow email. We can do that as well. We can have the content area automatically aligned left or center, not to the right, however. We can change the background color. Maybe I'll make it a dark background color. That's only applying to this particular section, it looks like. So let's see if I select the entire email, is that possible? There we go. I've got the whole email selected, I think, or maybe that's just that top section. No, so you'd have to do this on a kind of section by section basis, it appears. We can change our default font here as well as our link color, which it looks like it's set to white by default. That's not very good for this template. So maybe we'll make it, I don't know, how about red? Okay, just a few more things here. There are removal trash can icons on each section. So let's say, I really don't want this lady here licking her lips. I can click on the row and then delete it, and then it's gone. However, if I really want to show these buttons, maybe reuse them, it could be like a layout for, you've got a blog post, you're going to have the headline of the blog, the image, and then a little description. If you wanted to replicate that, you could just copy it right there. And now I have 2 of them. So that'll make, basically make your layouts go a lot quicker if you just do one layout and then repeat it. And the last thing to point out is there are merge tags and special links here. So we've got merge tags where we can use the current year, the email address, the sender's email address, and the company address. Those are basically like little short codes you can insert, and then they populate with the correct information. And then we've got our special links. So we've got our unsubscribe link, our update, our profile link, and preview in browser. These are all included for us essentially on our footer of the template. So no real reason to update them here with this particular template. Okay, so let's pretend that this is a somewhat readable email. It's obviously not, but if it was, I could click next over here. It's going to take me to the next screen, which I assume is where I can go ahead and actually do the A/B testing. All right, that was a little bit of a finicky setup process, right? Where now I can finally add in my alternate subject line. Or if I wanted to test my alternate from name, I could do David Swift. Maybe that gets more opens. And with all of these, you can add additional options here. It looks like there isn't really a limit Oh, I take that back. There are 5 from names that you can choose from and 5 subject lines. You can also A/B test your content. So if you wanted to have multiple versions of your content, you can do that as well. And let's see if there's a limit on this, also 5. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and proceed to the next step here, which should be to send, I believe. Just a little UI thing I wanna point out. I find it kind of weird that as I'm progressing, the previous steps are turning green, and then the one that I'm active on kind of looks like it's yet to come. You would think that this would be turning green as I go through it, and then the steps that are waiting would be kind of grayed out. But instead, this color signifies active. I could see that being confusing to users. They might be like, I want to go to the send section, and then clicking and they can't. But I can go backwards to the A/B test section and the setup section if I like. All right, so sending, what is this all about? Well, I can edit the details of the campaign here. That's just gonna take me back to the setup screen. I can choose my subscribers that I wanna send this message to right down here, all active subscribers, or I can start to categorize them. Now, I don't have any categories, I don't have any subscribers, so I'm not gonna be able to choose anyone, but looks like they've created a test category for me, so I will go ahead and set that up and say add selected subscribers, and it should say none, right? If I didn't want to send by categories, I could also choose custom fields. So I'm sending it out to people with specific fields that they've entered in as they've subscribed. I haven't set that up either because remember, it just kicked me right into the campaign setup. Or I could choose options from a previous campaign. Now down below here, I've got my A/B test metrics. I find this interface to be a little bit confusing because it says A 25%, B 25%, and winning version 50%. And then there's like an error message that says your combinations are more than available to subscribers. I have no idea what that means. I think what this section is for is to figure out the weighting of the different options. But the way it's worded, it's not very clear to me what I'm supposed to do. So it says select a winner by click rate after 4 hours. So I guess the idea would be that they'll send out the emails and then after 4 hours, it will choose the correct subject line or the correct campaign based on how many people have clicked, or I could say by open. I wouldn't necessarily choose open rates, but you could choose select manually if you just get a feel for what is getting the right reaction. I'd probably choose click rate, the one that they set you up with the default. That is definitely going to be the one that at this point that has the best results. Although now email applications are even going in and clicking all of the links in emails to check for scams. So email marketers, man, it's a tough time in 2024. Privacy is important, but it's also breaking the email marketing automations that we have been using for the last 20, 25 years. Little option down here to get notifications once your campaign is processed. So basically, they're going to let you know how things are going. And it says by default, campaign notifications will be sent to recipients specified in the global notifications. Check this option to modify for a particular campaign. So I can click this and then I can add additional emails that I want this to go out to, this report of how my email is doing. Okay, so I can actually slide this around in order to figure out the weight of what is going out. So that is interesting. All right, so I could start off with a very small amount of emails being sent, let's say 25%. And then after the winner is selected, it goes to the winning version. I'm glad I clicked around there because that was not clear to me what to do, but there we go. I can even do as little as 10% total. So let's say I have 2 subject lines. Group A is going to get 5%, Group B is going to get 5%. Then a winner will be automatically selected after 4 hours, and the rest of the emails will go out. Now, I can't schedule my email because I don't have any active subscribers. So I'm going to have to go ahead and add some active subscribers, right? So there's a subscriber option up here. I'm going to go into manage, and it looks like it added me as a subscriber. Let's add some other addresses. My options are to add manually, batch import from a CSV or text file, connect to Google Spreadsheets, use a third-party integration, or use a form builder. So we can actually build forms here and have them connect right up to our website, embed them on our website, and then add new subscribers that way. All right, so I'm just adding a subscriber manually here so I have someone to send to, and I added them to that test category. All right, there we go. We've got my test subscriber. Let's go ahead and go back to our campaign here and wrap this part of the video up. All right, so now it says 2 recipients. So it is including myself as well as the contacts I just went and added. Your combinations are more than the available subscribers. Okay, so the A/B testing is actually, it is a legit error. It's screwing us up. I'm not able to send because I don't have enough subscribers. So let's turn off A/B testing. Right here, I'll toggle this off. Then we'll go to the send section. Now all of our A/B testing stuff is gone. I can send to all active subscribers, and I should be good to go here. Now I click send and it said I'm ready to send to 2 recipients, and I can send now or later. And if I choose later, I can just specify a time, and it's using the time zone that I set up when I created my account. So I'm gonna go ahead and send this right now. Why not? All right, it says finally sit back and relax. Your newsletter is on its way to 2 subscribers. View the campaign summary. All right, let's check that out. So as of right now, it has not actually sent my email. I can see it's sent to 0 subscribers. I can view the report, which should give me some open rate metrics, I would assume. Click through and all of that. Now it says they're preparing the report. So obviously there's nothing to look at because the email hasn't been sent yet. And I can view activities. I assume this is going to be, who's opened it, who's clicked, and all of that goodness. All right, so we'll check back on those in a little bit. Let's actually go ahead and proceed through some more parts of the application so that we can check through other things without wasting too much time on the actual campaigns. But let's go ahead and proceed. So we've already done our campaigns. The next thing to connect is transactional emails. So let's see what services it's going to support here. So I'm going to go to the transactional section up at the top, and I don't see any options to integrate. If you remember at the top of the video, I had 3 buttons I could click and it looked like it was going to help me set things up. But right now I don't have those options. So I'll probably find them over here on the right-hand sidebar and then go to integrations. No, that's not it. It looks like it just wants me to connect up to my social media here. So let me just pause this and figure out how the transactional emails actually work. All right, so the research that I did shows that this might not be fully fleshed out for like the average consumer that wants to connect up their website to use Engine Mailer for sending transactional emails. Doesn't mean it can't be done. It's just going to require a bit of a developer's mind. You can see there here that we need to use the REST API in order to actually send out transactional emails. So that is a little bit of a bummer. I was hoping maybe for a one-click integration with platforms like Shopify or WordPress, things like that. But I don't see anything like that. So just keep in mind that transactional emails might still just be best left to your actual platform. We can still look into it. Let's go ahead and check it out. We've got the ability to add a new template here. I'll call this like a receipt, and I'll make my name the sender and say, here is your receipt for the subject line. We go to next, and then we can choose one of their templates as the transactional message. So here are some password resets. Download is ready. I mean, these look like they could actually be helpful. Let's blow one of them up here. We've got a business template. Let's preview this. Verify your account. Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good. So, it might be nice to be able to use these. Forgot your password. Let's preview this. All right, yeah, those are pretty decent looking templates. So I'll just grab a random one here and hit get started. We'll save and exit. And there we go. Now I just have a template for a receipt. We'd have to use some dynamic variables to be able to pull in that data from our website and insert it actually into the emails. So that'd be another process. You create those dynamic variables. You definitely will need some kind of a developer to get this working, or a lot of time and patience on your hand. Be a good learning project. All right, this video is already getting quite long, so I'm not gonna be able to address every single feature inside of Engine Mailer, but let's go ahead and just check out the last part of emailing, which is autoresponders. Before I do that, I'm gonna point out that there are landing pages as well as forms that can be online forms or pop-up forms. And then there can also be surveys. So lots of features built into this. It's almost an entire platform in terms of like you could run your whole business off of it. But I'm going to stick to email because that's in the name, Engine Mailer. And let's go ahead and create an autoresponder here. Autoresponder is a drip sequence, right? Where we can have time delays between emails. So let's call this my welcome sequence. And I'm going to send this to my test category. I could do it by birthday, which is fun, I guess. And I'm going to go ahead and, all right, we got a little builder here. So let's add a day. We'll call this day 0. And then it says email sequences on this day, create. And I could call this email number 1. And it's based off of the time since the recipient has signed up, or I could choose a delay or exactly at a specific time of the year. You want to send out a Christmas email every single year. You could set that up so it goes out on December 25th every year. For now, I'm going to just choose the time the recipient signed up, enter my info here. It would be nice if this were pre-filled in because it did explicitly say on the AppSumo deal that you can only send from one sender email. So I'm not sure why I have to continue to type it. All right, so I just added email 1 in here. I kind of blasted through it, but it showed me the template selector and I could just go through the same process of building an email that we saw before. And then I could have another email go out on another day. Maybe this will be day 3. So I wait a few days and I can send out another message. Okay, so now I've got 2 emails in my sequence. Day 1, email 1 goes out. without a delay here, I could delay it a little bit if I wanted. Let's say I delayed it, I don't know, 1 hour. Then it would wait an hour, send email number 1. Then it's going to wait until day 3, and I can choose the time I want it to send at. Let's say on day 3, it's going to send at 6:15 a.m. All right, it's going to go out at that time. And then I could just add in more and more emails to my sequence. So pretty bare bones in terms of creating drip sequences, but that might be all you need. In fact, I think a lot of times people overcomplicate their automations. So this is very, very basic, but it's going to cover 99% of the, well, maybe not 99. It's going to cover 80% of the use cases. How about that? That's probably a more fair statement. It's always good to have more features than you need, because if that occasion does arise, well, then you can add in the feature rather than having to eject your entire platform and then find one that suits your needs. I'm going through that right now with project management. I'm trying to find a platform that will just let me do a few things automatically, whereas the tool I was using didn't. So now we're kind of upheaving the whole ship, trying to look for a replacement. So definitely starting with more powerful tools and then just ignoring the features you don't need can be a wise approach to software if you can handle, if the other stuff doesn't get in the way and it doesn't like confuse you as a user. All right, let's go to save and publish. And it says error detected. Please fix the errors before publishing your autoresponder. What is the error? Okay. Select the exact time to send the email. I didn't choose the AM PM. It was the AM PM. All right, let's go ahead and set it to PM.
I bet he got the AM PM mixed up.
And now I'm going to save and publish. And it says saved, it says published, yet here I am. It didn't take me out of the screen, so that's a little bit weird. I can turn the automations on and off. That's cool. A lot of times they will leave these off by default, and then you have to turn them on. And it may have done that. I didn't see. Maybe publishing made it turn to play here. Those aren't always one and the same, right? This could, it likely is though. Let's save, let's turn it off. And I choose save and publish. Got all these pop-ups, go away. Yeah, now it switches over to play. Okay, I've definitely been victim of publishing my autoresponders on platforms like ConvertKit, but there's a little toggle switch that I didn't turn on, and then those automations never start to send. I've seen other people do that as well, so I know I'm not alone. Okay, to wrap this thing up, it looks like my email newsletter was finally sent. It says 2 out of 12,000 emails have been sent. Emails over here too. None have been delivered, none have bounced, none have been opened. So can I find, it's been a good 20 minutes since I sent the 2 emails. Did it hit the inbox? Let's find out. Boom, there it is in my inbox. I've got my beautiful email here. It looks pretty good. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, that must have been where I changed the background color. All right, yeah, everything looks like it's fully functional. Yeah, what more can you say? It sent an email. So earlier in the video, I was curious about how they were actually doing all of the email sending and whether or not it would be sustainable for them. And looking at the headers inside of the email itself, I was able to determine that they're using some open source software to run their own email servers. This software is called Haraka. I believe that's how you pronounce it. My apologies if it's wrong. And I'm very familiar with this tool. I actually use it to run email servers for myself as well. So this is very high quality open source email server. It's built with Node.js, very, very capable of high performance, high volume email sending. So no real concerns here about how they're actually sending the emails. I think this is entirely sustainable. As long as they have a server running the software, they'll be able to handle quite a few emails. So that's all on the email server front, nothing really of concern. All right, so that is a fairly comprehensive look at Engine Mailer. I know we didn't get to all of the features, but I think we hit the most important ones. And you saw that it's a pretty decent tool. It does what it says it's going to do, but it's a little rough around the edges, which is very common for lifetime deals. We see that quite a bit. So would I invest in this tool? Well, yeah, probably if I was just getting started. I haven't already built up a system on another platform. This looks like it's a fairly good one. It's available right now for a really reasonable price, $29 for 12,000 emails. It's going to serve you for a very long time. There's one important thing you might want to keep in mind, and that is the ability to migrate. So if you start off with this tool and maybe you get attracted to something else, well, you can actually leave Engine Mailer. That seems like a funny way to end the video, but I do think it's important. So you just go to subscribers, manage, and then export, and you can actually grab all of your subscribers and export them. You just click right here where it says export, and it's going to ask you what categories you want to export them from. Categories are like segments or lists in other tools, and I can go ahead and just export them right here. It's going to give me a downloadable CSV file, and then I can take my subscribers with me anywhere I'd like to go next. Now, I'm not saying that this won't be the right or long-term solution for you, but that's always important when you're basically giving a very valuable asset over to another system? Can I get in and out with ease? And with Engine Mailer, you definitely can. So for that reason, I'm gonna say that you definitely should try this out if what you've seen in the video looks like it's gonna suit your needs. I think it's a tool that needs a little bit of polish. It needs a graphic designer, a good user experience UX designer to just make everything a little bit more beautiful. But as it is, it's functional right now. So I'm gonna give this one a 6.7. And yeah, that's my review. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button. If you're not already, consider subscribing. Hit me up with a comment down below. If you want help with your website, check out clientamp.com. I'd be happy to look into any online problems that you're having. My name is Dave Swift. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.